Okay, listen, this one's gonna be long. Hello there, welcome back. Today we're going to continue in the I love SPF saga of videos, as I will walk you through about half of my SPF collection and I'll talk all about it. I feel like picking a good SPF for your face is a great struggle, so I decided to dig in, try out every SPF I can in some normal amount of time for at least a couple months, and I'll be giving you all the tea and ingredients and everything on every one of these 12 SPFs. Now, I wasn't sure how to structure all this, so I decided to take kind of like the easy available in Europe section of my SPFs, which are mostly brands that are not Korean, you know, or somehow available only at these like specialized websites. So we have all kinds of different things. A lot of these are very affordable. I would actually say that most of these are very affordable. And I'll be going through all of them, you know, giving you all the information, giving you swatches, applications, demos, my opinion on them, and my experience with them. If you don't know what SPF means, if you don't know what is the PA metric, if you don't know what does broad spectrum mean, what are the UVA and UVB rays and all this good stuff, check out my SPF basics video that I did specifically for this purpose, so you can pause this video now, go watch that one, get your information together so you know what we're talking about and I don't have to repeat myself. So I wanted this to be as properly experimented as possible, so I did a little research on how much is recommended amount for your SPF. I don't like the finger thing, I don't think that's very accurate. So I googled that you should use half a spoon on each your face and your neck, which leaves 1/4 of a spoon to your face. This is what I found online, not sure how accurate it is, but you know, you should always apply a little bit more, just so you're sure that you're covering your whole face. But for the purpose of this video, I tried to keep this amount like somewhat the same because it's easier for me to imagine amount in spoons, because I cook a lot, than it is to just kind of randomly rub it on my fingers, because that doesn't really work with so many different textures. I did my best to clean my face every time I used a different SPF. Let me tell you, after 12 swatches of SPF on my face, my skin was not happy, but we made it through. So if you see any irritation or anything, trust me, it's not the products. It is just the fact that I was cleaning my face 12 times, even with a gentle cleanser. That's a lot of rubbing on your face. But all you see in terms of the application, how it soaks in, that's all real footage. That's how the SPF really works. Here's my box of SPF, and we're gonna go through this. We're gonna go through this whole thing. This is gonna be a little bit tedious, but we have to go through this, okay? I need you to know that there are affordable, good SPFs out there that are easily available to you, that are actually good, and you can put them in your routine, and you can finally have SPF in your routine, and we can all be collectively happy and never age. So let's start off with probably the most affordable one I have over here. This is the Primark PS SPF 30 Moisturizing Serum Drops. So the thing with this is, okay, it does protect you from both UVA and UVB rays, which is exactly what we want. It comes in this packaging, you know, it's a like typical serum packaging. There are 25 milliliters of product. It is quite lightweight, the texture is pretty runny, but a little bit oily at the same time. It does contain argan oil and vitamin E, so it's more like a hydrating serum SPF more than anything else. So it does have a little bit of like a greasy feeling, but it does spread quite nicely. On my face, it doesn't sink in as well, and it does leave like this kind of dewy, little bit of greasy finish. So maybe if you have very dry skin, this would be nice for you. And it wasn't irritating my eyes initially, because that is something I struggle with a lot. But initially, upon the first application, it was fine. It's when I wear it a little bit longer, I feel like as it's kind of slippery and a little bit oily, it kind of moves closer to my eyes as I go through the day, and then it starts to irritate my eyes. So if you're super sensitive to that, like I am, I would not recommend it. Otherwise, if you're looking for like a nice, really lightweight, but really moisturizing SPF, I would say that this is a very good choice. Plus, of course, it's insanely affordable. I must say it is not my personal favorite, but for people like, I don't know, my mom, I would 100% recommend it because she loves moisturizing stuff. Her skin is dry all the time and she's looking for some more lightweight SPFs alternative that are not going to let her skin, you know, stay dry through the day. And as she doesn't wear makeup, she kind of enjoys to have that glow and to have something that's going to keep your face hydrated through the day, which, yeah, I'm down. This is good for that. Let's continue with the serum format of the SPF. This is the Hello Sunday, the one that's a serum SPF 45. I feel like this was quite a viral product at a point. Like, it's good. It's really good. Hello Sunday has a lot of different products with SPF. Some of them are a little bit weird, like there's an eye cream with SPF, but sure. However, this one really caught my attention, mostly because of the serum texture, and I heard a lot of good stuff about it, so I had to get it. I've been using it for quite a long time, and at first I wasn't very impressed because I was really spoiled by the Japanese SPFs that I used to love. But then as I was using it more and more as like one of my primary SPFs, I really grew to like it a lot. This one also comes in like a serum packaging. It is also broad spectrum protection. It does contain chemical filters, and besides those you also have a lot of different things like vitamin C, glycerin, sunflower seed oil, allantoin, but there's also dimethicone, which is a silicone, and you know, some people may not like that in their skincare. There's also peptides and aloe in the formula. So overall you kind of get like this well formulated SPF that also has some skincare benefits, which I think is pretty great. It is very lightweight and it sinks in pretty fast. So what they actually say on the website is that you can mix it in with other products. So for example, you can mix it into your moisturizer to make it like SPF moisturizer. However, you know, you also should be kind of aware of the amount you should use. So be careful with that. I use it on its own always, and I really like it. I must say, it does certainly have more matte feeling than the Primark one, and it is also way more expensive, so you kind of get like the nicer texture, a little bit more like natural finish, almost to matte finish kind of feel on your face, which I prefer a lot more. And it's also very easy to reapply. I didn't experience any peeling with it. Also the same thing with like makeup on top of it. Nothing really ever bothered me, and it doesn't leave you looking super greasy. So I mean, I really like that, and I would say the fuss around this SPF was kind of deserved. Even though it's like pretty well available, it is still one of the more expensive SPFs. And here we have another serum. This one is not in the standard serum packaging. This one actually has a pump, and it is the Revolution SPF Defense Serum. I was so curious about the Revolution skincare products. Like, the packaging is beautiful, the formulations kind of speak to me, and this one was like the last one that I wanted to try and didn't get around to doing it for so long, and oh my god, this is like one of my favorite SPFs ever made. This one is only SPF 30, but it's actually like the lower bound of what you should be using, so it's still okay. So it is a chemical sunscreen with SPF 30, which is also supposed to protect you from like blue light, free radicals, you know, all the buzzwords. Now, it does contain glycerin, hyaluronic acid, panthenol, and also squalane, so it is like more on the moisturizing side, more like hydrating than moisturizing really, which I do enjoy very much in the summer. You know, this is exactly what you want, a little bit of extra moisture in the SPF. And honestly, this is magic. Like, this texture really is, it feels like surreal. You put it on and it's gone. Like, you do the first swipe of it and it's gone. I don't understand how it works, but this is the most invisible SPF I've ever seen. And it layers so well, like it doesn't matter how much you put on, it always sinks in like nothing. And again, it gives you like this natural, silky, almost matte finish. So it looks beautiful on the skin, it wears really well under makeup or by itself, it's so easy to reapply. The only thing I don't like about it is that the cap just doesn't want to stick on. Yeah, it just doesn't really stay on that well. But this is, texture-wise, one of the best SPFs I've ever tried. I was truly impressed by this one. It is a little bit more on the pricey side, like with respect to Revolution, but I would still say that it's totally worth it. So now we're stepping out of the serum category, straight up into the lotion territory, and since we have only one lotion, this is gonna be quick. This is the Beauty Bay Face Lotion with SPF 50, which is a broad protection sunscreen. Of course, you know, Beauty Bay, they do some stuff great. I mean, they do most of their stuff pretty well. So when they came out with SPF, I was so excited. This made its way into most of my travel bags, into my favorites video. Honestly, this is like my go-to SPF. It does have physical filters as well as chemical filters, and it is incredibly liquidy. This is like water. Like, there's no creaminess in this sunscreen at all, like nowhere to be found. It's super lightweight. It almost doesn't even leave like any finish. It does leave you like slightly like hydrated looking. It's not even dewy. It doesn't leave you look oily, but It kind of gives you like a little bit of that glow. I don't know how to explain it, but it's very nice. And it also doesn't clash with any makeup or primers or anything you want to put on top. So it's a perfect SPF if you really want something like for every day, something very lightweight, very universal. I like that you get 50 milliliters of product, which is very decent size. And I also really like the pump because it's like very sturdy. The cap is like on. So I'm not too afraid to travel with it, which is great. So besides the sunscreen, we also have hydrating ingredients, which I wasn't really all that familiar with by the names. And it's also supposed to be anti-pollution, which is, you know, kind of a thing everyone has to have that on their packaging nowadays. Really what's sad about it is that it's sold out all the time. I think it's back in stock now, but who knows when this video will be up. So if you have a chance to get your hands on this, I would definitely go for it because you will not be disappointed. And straight to another texture, which is the fluid texture, which is kind of like a hybrid, I think, between like a lotion and a cream-ish. I don't really know. But this is the Sun Ozon Sonnen Fluid, which is, you know, sun fluid, with hyaluronic acid, which was available at the Rossmann drugstore. I'm not sure if it's still there. However, they did have like a whole sunscreen collection, one with vitamin C, some after, you know, sunbathing care and stuff like that. However, this one really stood out to me because, dude, hyaluronic acid in a sunscreen is a sign of a good sunscreen. So I really wanted to know what is all this about. It does have broad spectrum SPF 50, which is pretty damn good. On top of that, it is also waterproof, which usually means like a slight shift in the texture. It tends to be a little bit like thicker and a little bit more there. It does contain chemical sunscreen, and besides that we also have hyaluronic acid, glycerin, and it's also sadly fragrant. So if you are sensitive to that, I wouldn't recommend, but it does smell nice. It's not too overpowering. Even though it is waterproof, so it is slightly like thicker upon application, you can still spread it so easily, and it's like such a nice texture to apply. Really, I was just stunned by that. It was incredibly affordable when I bought it, which was like one of the main reasons I got it. I just love testing cheap SPFs to see if they're any good. And this one really blew my mind. I would say that this is probably like one of the best SPFs from the drugstore I've ever used. I'm not sure if it's available anywhere anymore because it was like a limited edition collection, I think. But if you're lucky and you see this blue thing, go for it. Go for it now. So now we're getting more into like the actual like cream, like sunscreen creams. And this one I have might seem a little odd to you because this is from Hada Labo Tokyo, which is a Japanese brand. Listen, I know I said all of these are going to be like widely available in Europe, but this one is actually available at the DM drugstore. That's why I put it in this video and not the other one, because I feel like that's like as available as you can get, right? So this is the Hada Labo Tokyo Light Hydrator Sun Face Cream with SPF 50 High Protection. It is broad spectrum and is also water resistant with a matte look. Now listen, the matte look is a little bit of a stretch. But let's talk about the SPF at first, okay? So as I said, it is broad spectrum protection, which is great. It is purely chemical sunscreen. And like one cool thing about it is that it can apparently be used on wet skin, which I don't think I ever saw that anywhere. It is quite lightweight. It is a little bit more like lotiony than creamy, really. So it is like really lightweight texture. It sinks in perfectly fine, but the matte finish is a lie. I'm sorry, but that's not matte sunscreen, okay? It gives me similar look to the beauty-based sunscreen. Really, I feel like it kind of gives you like this like natural glow, like a little bit of glow. It definitely is not matte. It is, again, like a little bit thicker upon the application. You can kind of feel it on the face because it is water resistant. That's kind of what they do, these sunscreens. However, it still doesn't really stop me from liking it. It doesn't leave a white cast on me, and I do like the way it sits. Now, when it comes to the ingredients, we have all different kinds of stuff. You have hyaluronic acid, you have glycerin, there's also squalane and panthenol. So again, you kind of have like a hydrating, calming ingredients in the formula, which I think is great. It's always nice to get some benefits even from your SPF. And it is kind of like semi-pricey for a drugstore. I think everyone kind of has to like set this into their perspective. But I find this slightly pricey. But I also think it's pretty cool, and I quite like the packaging. You do get 50 milliliters of product, which is again quite a lot. And honestly, I just kind of enjoy the texture, especially when I know that it's water resistant. That makes it a better candidate for me to take it to like a pool or a beach than some other sunscreens that I have, which I know are not water resistant. So I would definitely say this one is quite a win. Next, we have one which is also kind of like a lighter cream kind of thing, and it's from Glowhub. If you know me, you know I freaking love Glowhub. So I was super excited when I saw that they launched an SPF. This one is the Defend Yourself SPF 30 Sun Silk. It is broad spectrum protection again, so it's going to protect you from all the rays. It comes in a tube with a pump. It's a little bit impractical because the cap doesn't sit on that well again. It is a chemical sunscreen which is supposed to be more like a dewy finish according to the description. I would say it's kind of half and half. I don't really find it super dewy. It is fragrance free and it has some nice antioxidants in it like vitamin E and green tea. It also contains the marigold extract, which is anti-inflammatory, which is also nice. And then we have glycerin. This one, again, we have some nice like skincare-ish properties. What I don't like about this one is that it has like most like old school SPF vibes. It smells like an old school SPF. It irritates my eyes like an old school SPF. I'm a little bit not a big fan of this one, and I was really disappointed because I really like Glowhub, but I must say, just the irritation of my eyes is so not worth it. And every time I used the sunscreen, every time I had to redo my makeup because I just started tearing up a couple minutes after the application of this. So it's just really not for me. Maybe it's just literally just me problem and there's something in it that I don't like and I don't even know it, some ingredient that's irritating my eyes. But for me, this one is a no-go and I'll probably give it to a friend of mine or someone who will not mind this as much. The tube contains 50 milliliters of product, so again, we have a very decent amount. It definitely feels a lot hydrating on the skin, a little bit greasy, and it does take quite a long time to sink into the skin. The texture was very nice, and I really thought I was going to like it, but overall, this is a no for me because of the irritation, the time it takes to sink, and yeah, mostly the irritation. Okay, next we're dabbling into the old school, cheap skincare stuff. This is from The Ordinary. Listen, I knew they had a sunscreen, but it was always sold out everywhere, so I just assumed it was really good. This is The Ordinary Sun Care Mineral UV Filters with SPF 30 and antioxidants. So because this was sold out everywhere all the time, I just assumed, like, yeah, this is gonna be a great sunscreen. Turns out that I'm not really of that opinion, and I will tell you why. But first, let's look at the facts. Again, you get 50 milliliters of product. It is a tube, which is perfectly fine. This one is the first one that we're talking about today that is purely just mineral sunscreen. Just physical filter, no chemical filters, which is sometimes said to be good for sensitive skin. However, there's not much evidence on it, but it definitely won't irritate your eyes, I think. It is a broad spectrum protection, which is great. What is not so great is the ingredients list. Like, from the ingredients list, I couldn't really read much. There was a bunch of antioxidants, a lot of stuff I never heard of, and the list was like infinite. So I didn't get to know much about this thing. However, I did get to know a lot of it just by using it. I love the notes that I have on the sunscreen. So first of all, the texture is very thick. It's almost like spreading rubber on your face. It's a very unpleasant experience. It's super thick. It gives you like this grayish white cast, like 100%. Of course, it's a mineral sunscreen. But this one is like, he's not trying to hide it at all. He wants the whole neighborhood to know that you're using a mineral sunscreen. So that's why I don't like. But I can get past that, right? I wear makeup. I can wear this under makeup. It's fine. However, this feels so bad on the skin. Like, it literally feels like a rubber mask. Like, I'm not even joking. It's like one of those weird masks you mix in a bucket and you put on your face, and that's how you feel all day, which is not the worst. I think you can get used to it, but at the same time, I don't want to feel like that all day. To me, this one was really a no-no. Like, besides the fact that it felt horrible, it was like impossible to take off. Like, honestly, when I was washing this off, I had to go in twice with a balm and then with a foaming cleanser to strip it off my skin. Like, it's impossible to take off. When I was trying out the sunscreens, I had this on and I had a phone call. And as I was holding the phone against my face, I couldn't get the shit out of my phone. Like, I couldn't get it off my phone screen when I finished the call. It was like, really, like rubber. And I don't really like it. It's hard to spread. It doesn't sink in. It just stays, looks weird, and does rubber things. No, this is a big no for me. Next, we're going in with one and only tinted SPF we have in this selection, which is the Fluff Superfood SPF 50 Face Cream, which is skin tone correcting cream. So this one is not only SPF, but it's also supposed to, like, unify your skin tone and stuff. This is what SPFs often do when they want to hide the fact that they're mineral and they don't want that white cast. They try to balance it out with pigment, which doesn't always really work. But let's see what does this one have to say. So again, we're talking about broad spectrum protection, and it is also chemical and physical. So as I said about the pigment, maybe the mineral filters are kind of being hidden with the pigment, I don't know. It is waterproof, it is tinted, and it is supposed to be mattifying. So the tinted thing is definitely visible in the clips. The mattifying factor, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's making my face matte. I don't think I agree with that. I think it's more of a hydrating SPF actually. And yeah, the waterproofness again gives it a little bit of like that lingering feeling. But with this one, I feel like it was weaker than with the previous ones that were waterproof. So maybe it's like actually kind of better formulated, I'm not sure. But what you do have here is a bunch of different oils and moisturizers. So you have almond oil, which is just great. I find it very good in every skincare I use. Then we have grapeseed oil, passion fruit oil, multiple different sizes of hyaluronic acid and glycerin, but it's also fragranced. So, you know, again, if you're very sensitive to that, just beware. The tint is pretty light, like it gives you kind of like a light coverage, but also light in a shade, I feel like. So I'm not sure how universal this would be on like deeper skin tones. I'm not very convinced that it would look good on like a medium or deep skin tone. But what I do like is that it kind of gives you like that nice healthy glow and like unified skin. But it also looks like super hydrating and super healthy. It does take a minute to sink in, but I would say the finish is worth it because really by itself, it looks splendid. And I also tried wearing it instead of a foundation, and I must say I'm not mad at it at all. I don't think I would recommend this for oily skin because it really feels like borderline a little too hydrating for me. But I must say that I enjoyed the finish quite a lot. So if you are into that like glowy, dewy, healthy something, you don't really want to wear foundation, but you feel like a little bit of tint would be okay, I think this is like a pretty cool product. And I wasn't really into tinted SPFs at all before, but I think this one specifically, it has something going on. I think I'm going to be reaching for it a lot more now that I actually tried it. But yeah, keep in mind that this is a hydrating product. Next, we have another one from Revolution. Listen, Revolution keeps coming out with SPFs like left and right. They have new SPF like every, couple weeks. This one is their Moisture Boost SPF 50 moisturizer for all skin types. I wouldn't call this a moisturizer. It's definitely more like an SPF. It's not quite hydrating enough to be a moisturizer. However, you know, Revolution, you do you. Let's get into the details, right? It does have SPF 50. It is also broad spectrum protection, which is awesome. You get 50 milliliters of product. It is chemical sunscreen and it's meant to go for all skin types, which is cool. And I would say it's probably true because this is like a very unique and very lightweight SPF texture. Again, Revolution kind of knows what they're doing with the SPF. It does contain glycerin, niacinamide, and hyaluronic acid. However, the hyaluronic acid is like super low, so that's why I think it's a stretch to call it a moisturizer. It does sink right in, it has a very nice natural finish, it doesn't make you look glowy or oily, and it absorbs really fast, so it's not like it stays on or anything. That's why I really like it. It's just a perfect SPF to put over any moisturizer and under any makeup. It's just like almost invisible, undetectable, super cool. It does leave you like looking slightly hydrated, but it's nothing too dramatic. So I would say this is like one of the most universal SPFs I'm talking about today. That's at least, you know, SPF 50. I would definitely recommend it. It is pretty affordable too, and I do quite like the pump with the tube because this one actually kind of wants to stay on and it's actually quite easy to travel with. And I must say the texture of this is just great. Like they really nailed it with this one. But speaking of Revolution, oh shit. Speaking of Revolution though, here is the OG. Like this was my first sunscreen for my face ever bought. This is my 5th one of this particular sunscreen and I'm never gonna give it up. This is the Revolution Skincare SPF 30 Protection Boost for normal to oily skin. That's the most important part of it, okay? It has to be normal for oily. I don't know what's the other one like. I don't want to know because this one is the best. And this is the only SPF from all of these that really makes you matte. This makes you feel like you have no SPF on your face whatsoever. I love it. This was the best buy I ever did in terms of skincare. I love this thing so much. So let's talk about it, okay? Broad spectrum protection. We have chemical sunscreen. It does have matte finish and it's supposed to help control sebum production and also give you protection from the sun, which is a perfect combination for anyone with oily skin. But we have a lot of great ingredients like niacinamide, glycerin, allantoin, lactic acid. And it's also fragrance free, which is awesome. So again, it's like a super universal SPF. Everyone I gave this to because I just keep giving it away to all my friends and family because this is just the best SPF ever made and everyone needs to know and everyone has to have it so they never stop selling it. This is like the best SPF I can recommend to you if you're starting off with the SPF. Definitely a winner in my book. It is kind of advertised as a moisturizer, but it's really not. It is a perfectly fine SPF though. I don't really like the pot packaging. I find it a little bit messy, but you know, whatever. Like, I love it so much, I don't even care what it's in. But what I love about it the most is how well it works with everything else. It is not matte in a sense that it would be like too matte and it would start piling up on UV products. Not at all. It just kind of gives you like this beautiful layer of like natural matte over your moisturizer. Great under your makeup, so it's perfect for the makeup prep. You're not too dewy, you're not too shiny, you're not kind of just spreading around oils from your SPF or something. This is just perfect, okay? You need this, you do. Together with like 5 other SPFs from this video, but you need this one the most, trust me. And last but not least, we have another one in a pot. This is the Nekomi, what are you called? This is the Nekomi Next Level Golden Rays SPF 50 PA4+ City one. They have all kinds of different SPFs. And yeah, it does contain the other metric, the PA one, which is more usual with like the Korean sunscreens. However, it is still a broad spectrum protection. And it is SPF 50. So it is kind of supposed to be like, you know, like city-proof SPF. So you have some antioxidants to protect you from the free radicals and stuff like that. So it should protect you from infrared and from some other like blue light stuff. And it is also waterproof. It is pretty thick and it again gives you like this layer, slight layer of like the waterproof SPF feeling that's kind of there all the time. But it stays put. Like, this is a long wearing SPF. This is not gonna go anywhere. And it's not like unpleasant experience. It's just something you gotta get used to if you want to wear SPFs like this. It does leave quite a heavy residue, like you kind of know it's there. It does smell very nice, which usually means it's fragranced, and yes, this one is very fragranced, but again, it's quite subtle. It just smells really pleasant. However, if you're irritated by that, you know what to do. Buy another one. It does contain all different kinds of oils like olive oil and passion fruit oil, peach extract, hyaluronic acid, green tea. So there's a lot of good stuff in this. Again, we're kind of looking at this like multi-purpose product. And I would say this is quite a good SPF if you have drier skin. Again, like I wouldn't recommend this to someone who doesn't like heavy creams, doesn't have any experience wearing SPF, or just doesn't like thick stuff on their face or has oily skin. Because I feel like this is just a little bit too thick. And it kind of gives me the feeling that I shouldn't be wearing something this thick, like my face is gonna sweat underneath. That's what I get from that when I wear it. I know it may not be like the most rational thing to think, however, that's how my brain works now. It is a nice SPF, I do like it, but I kind of hesitate to put it on because of the thickness sometimes. So that was it. Those are all 12 SPFs I wanted to go over. The best recommendation I can give you from all these are the Revolution sunscreens, okay? The Protection Boost, Serum, and the Moisture Boost are, I would say from all of these, like the most accessible, because Revolution is sold in many countries. I think they do have worldwide shipping. So really, you can get any one of these. So for like a starting SPF, I think those are like the safest bet in terms of texture, because they are super lightweight, especially these two SPF 30 ones, because they are like semi-matte, kind of more mattifying. They are going to feel a lot more natural to you and you're not going to be annoyed by the finish and by looking shiny. So I would definitely recommend those for the starters. If you don't mind a little bit of that extra hydration, the Moisture Boost is also a great option. Similarly lightweight, but a little bit more hydrating and higher protection. I believe I showed you like a wide variety of different sunscreens you can get either online in your drugstore or anywhere else really. And I really hope that you kind of saw that you don't need a super expensive sunscreen. You don't need to go to like pharmacy and get like some Derma Cosmetics sunscreen. You don't have to do that. There are sunscreens with lightweight textures, matte finishes, dewy finishes, super lightweight textures, super thick ones, waterproof ones, not waterproof ones, mineral ones, physical ones, mixed ones, tinted ones. There's so much to choose from. Don't just limit yourself to the shittiest sunscreen there is that you remember from when you were 5 and your grandma was rubbing it on you by the sea because you hated it. You don't have to treat sunscreen like that just because of that bad memory, okay? So Let's just brace up together, go pick a good sunscreen, have fun with it, enjoy it, and know you're protecting your skin. That's how I take it, and I like it. And I cannot go without it right now because I have my own sunscreens I have to use up. So I honestly hope that this video showed you the variety of different products you can get. It also showed you that I do myself have like a great joy in finding good sunscreens that are quite affordable. You kind of have to find your middle ground and work what you want. How much you want to spend, what do you want the sunscreen to do, how irritative is your skin. Those are all things you have to ask yourself before you pick a sunscreen. And even though we may not be the same, I hope my expertise kind of helped you with this. I would say that's it for the first part of my sunscreen collection. Thank you very much for watching, consider subscribing, and if you want to see more SPF related content, you can check out the playlist. See ya!